So they want you to become her girlfriend, crying together and worrying together. You don't see a problem with that? What up, what up, what up? What's happening? Que lo que miente? Welcome to Love, Purpose, and Passports. Hope all is well and all the passport ready, a passport getting ready. For those of you that don't know, I am Mr. Pro for you, living in Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic. Let's get right to it. Today we're going to talk about this thing men have been convinced to do these days that's not in your best interest, and it has more unnecessary downside than upside. You get comfortable with your chick, you guys are vibing well, and then you decide it's the right time to spill the beans. What is spilling the beans? You decide that it's time for you to show her that you're vulnerable. You want to have that tender moment with her where you show her that you trust her to protect you. Women have talked about having a man that's vulnerable so much these days that now even the panders have jumped in on it. They want you to be vulnerable and transparent, ripe for the taking. Fellas, we already talked about coming here being soft in an earlier video. There's an agenda to make you less and less masculine. Let's talk about this vulnerable thing. So what does it mean for a man to be vulnerable? Number one, open up emotionally. Share his thoughts, feelings, fears, and insecurities honestly, instead of always being guarded or stoic. Number two, be authentic. Show who he really is, even if that includes admitting when he's hurting, confused, or unsure. Number three, build emotional intimacy. Let her in emotionally so she can feel closer and more connected to him. Number four, trust her with his inner world. Show that he feels safe enough with her to drop the emotional armor. So they want you to become her girlfriend, crying together and worrying together. You don't see a problem with that?
Women actually love when men can be vulnerable and open up about things and cry and feel their feelings. Like, it's such an attractive quality in a man.
I've seen that happen too many times with women. They say they want a man to be in tune with their feelings. The man start crying and he's a bitch, he's weak, he's this, he's that. She don't have respect for him.
Every time you do that, you're putting her in the masculine and yourself in the feminine.
And like literally my eyes are getting red. And I said, I'm not going to cry on this man's show. I had her. She wanted it. I couldn't give it because I've never seen a vulnerable man before. I've never seen a man lead with vulnerability, lead with that level of like, I'm going to trust you with my weakness. I've always seen the great men in my life, my fathers, lead with strength. Yeah. But never lead with, I'm going to rest my head on your shoulder. Because I did that one day accidentally on her and she lifted up her hand and rubbed my head.
You're literally creating a relationship between her and your weakness. Why would you do that? So you're creating a relationship between her and your fears and insecurities, a relationship with you confused and being unsure, connected with your emotions. She don't need to be connected with your emotions. They're talking about the emotions that generate weakness. She don't need to be connected to your emotions. She has enough on her plate dealing with her own. You're setting yourself up for failure being vulnerable with her. You don't believe me? Let's bring up the definition of vulnerable. Exposed to the possibility of being attacked or harmed, either physically or emotionally. You're saying, here's my weaknesses. Please protect them. That's not the order of things. There's God, man, women, and children. They don't like to hear that, but steady talking about they want a man to provide and protect. Are men talking about wanting a woman to provide and protect? Who does a man go to provide and protect him? He goes to God. And the context to this provide and protect is providing strength and protecting your weakness. You don't go to her for that. Let's be honest. Most of the time, the final outcome of them receiving your vulnerabilities, your weaknesses, is them trying to deconstruct your masculinity. Your masculinity is like a secret riddle to them. Frustrating sometimes, confusing sometimes, enjoyous sometimes. They want to get past it, be on the inside of it. You heard of Samson and Delilah. Without going into details, Samson fell in love with Delilah. 3 times, she asked him to be vulnerable. And all 3 times, he just gave her the, what she wants to hear version. The first time he shared with her, She tried him. The second time he shared with her, she tried him. The third time, she tried him again. That Delilah spirit is in a lot of women these days. So when you notice your woman keeps trying you, that's the spirit of Delilah in her. She's looking for your weakness. But get this, it doesn't stop there when she realized that all those times he hadn't been vulnerable. What does she say? How can you say I love you when you won't confide in me? Does this sound familiar, fellas? What does it say she did next? Then she nagged him day after day until he was sick to death of it. Nagged him to death. Nagged him. That's the spirit of Delilah. Nagging. She didn't use sex or withholding sex. She nagged him to death. You want to know what verse that is? Judges chapter 16, verse 16. And what did he do? Got nagged into finally being transparent and vulnerable with her. And what happened? Crushed him to smithereens. Nagging him to be vulnerable did that. They're not stronger than you physically. So if they know your weaknesses outside of physically, then they can handle you. They want you to be stronger than them on everything except dealing with them. Then they want to be able to overtake you, to handle you. She ain't supposed to be able to handle you. This is why you protect your source of strength from everyone. You don't share your true weakness with anyone. That's speaking about not succumbing to an underhanded woman. Now let's talk about a woman with good intentions. I'm sure you can be vulnerable with her, right? So let's walk through this one. A woman can be vulnerable with you every day. She may not be, but she can be, and that's fine. Sometimes she is, depending on what she's going through. So here you come being vulnerable. What if she was just about to be vulnerable with you? Now you're hogging up all the vulnerable time. Or do you wait until she's done and then take your turn? And maybe this is one of those times that you both are feeling the need to be really vulnerable. So now you're taking turns crying together about each other's problems. Women are emotional. You know how easy it is for you to be vulnerable while she's in a certain emotional state and all she hears is weakness? When just a week ago she hugged you and said, Poppy, it'll be okay. They're not equipped for that. When you hear women talking about a man being vulnerable with them and them wanting that, that's because they feeling valiant at that moment. But that's not their default mode. For that to work, your vulnerabilities would have to be convenient to their mind state, meaning you have to pick the right time to be vulnerable with her. Check to see if the coast is clear to be vulnerable. And that still wouldn't work. You know why? Because as soon as she's back in that certain mind state, she's going to reinterpret it and you back to being seen as weak.
Has he ever shared anything emotionally that made you feel closer to him?
Oh my God, yeah, he's like one big emotional. He's more emotional than me, actually. So, and he'll admit that, yeah.
But I think that can be a good thing, right?
No, absolutely. I feel like men don't show enough emotion, so I am grateful that he's very vulnerable, but sometimes he overthinks a little bit. So.
We all do.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
A good woman doesn't even have the ability to process your vulnerabilities as a man correctly. You can ask them the exact same question at different times of the month or different times a day and get a different answer, depending on if they ate or not. Let's say I tell my woman a story that reveals that I have a fear or worry of being in a situation where I'm outnumbered by guys in a confrontational type situation and I run. And she has a fear of the same thing. What do you think she hears? All she hears is she's unsafe and in trouble if we're ever outnumbered in a confrontational situation. That's how a woman will process that. All from me being vulnerable about a situation that didn't even involve her, had nothing to do with her. When in reality, people have a better chance of seeing tomorrow when it's me by myself than acting up when my wife is present. She's protected, but me being vulnerable doesn't instill a sense of being protected in her. You instill strength in her. You create a relationship with her and your strengths, not your vulnerabilities or your weaknesses. When you're around her enough, over time, she'll see your strength fluctuate. That's enough. You don't have to arrange vulnerability sessions. That's highlighting the wrong thing. If she's a good woman, she'll pick up on things by having a relationship with your strengths. Now let's land this. You don't have no business sharing your weaknesses with your woman. She can't strengthen you. There have been people in my past that called themselves wanting to look out for me, put me under the wing. But they didn't realize I was too big to fit under their wing. So you think you can fit under her wing by revealing your vulnerabilities? That's for you and God to work out, whoever your God is. You don't try to insert yourself under her wing. no matter what she says. But what you can and could do is share with her after you've overcome it. And I'm not talking about no deep, dark secrets. Keep that to yourself. No, Cassie. I don't tell my wife when I'm stuck in quicksand. I tell her how I came up out the quicksand. When you do that, the main character is strength, not weakness. Don't be the vulnerable guy. Be the victor. Love, purpose, and passports. Peace.